see here. All right. Okay, so yeah, it takes a bit to get started here. Well, I see one of you is out there watching. Hey, if you could hear me, just make a mention in the chat. That'd be great. If you could see, if you could hear. So going live, YouTube, going live like this, not something I normally do. So we'll see how this works. I've done it before done some interviews, but man, I tell you, it's been well over a year or so since I used StreamYard. So hopefully it's working all right. It's been well over a year or so since I have actually, gone live. But when I'd gone live before, it was with somebody doing interviews, an AMA and that. Not gone solo, live, answering questions. Thought I'd get on here today, and that's what I would do is, let's come on and just talk about where we're at with the market. See if anybody wants to jump on here and have any questions. So just let me know. If you could hear me everything. Hey, Jay Perry, it's going well. How's it going with you? You can hear me everything. You can hear me all right. Everything's good. Excellent here. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, this is not something I normally do. Maybe I'll start doing this a little bit more often, getting on here, doing some lives, probably feel a little bit more comfortable actually later. But it's a little bit different than just doing videos, right? You're doing your videos, you can start over and over again. You can edit your videos and that, right? Coming on live, you're a little bit more raw, you're a little bit more real, a little bit more, try to be authentic in the videos, right? Yeah, you know what? I'll get to that actually. That's a great question. Top 3 core coins on Pulse side. Well, okay, I'll get that right away here. My top 3 core coins on Pulse, of course, are going to be Pulse, PLS, and then PLSX, and then it would be Hex. The top Richard Hart core coins, really, when it comes down to it. They're going to have to be my top ones, my core. Yeah, absolutely. And hey, I know things are down, right? The market's down, the market's bleeding. It's pretty scary at times. Yeah. Oh, hey, welcome to the stream, Joss. Hex is dead. Hex is dead. I don't really believe that. I don't believe so. I'm still a pretty strong believer in the Richard Hart and the Pulse ecosystem myself. I still think there's, a lot of hope, everything is down right now. Okay. Everything is down. And, the market's bleeding. The market's doing pretty bad straight across the whole board. That's also why I want to get on here and share a little bit, share a few of my thoughts, what's happening. I know things feel a little bit scary with that. It's brutal. It's brutal. I tell you, I made some mistakes. That's why I want to get on here, share a little bit of my story. I've made some mistakes through the market. I've made some mistakes, investing and building my crypto portfolio. But I tell you what, I've gone through the storms. I'm still here. And that's what matters. And we all go through these storms. We all go through the turbulence. We all go through the rough times. And those that don't get shaken out will survive. I'm not getting shaken out. And, so I'm not coming here speaking as a guru. I'm not no crypto guru with 1 million subscribers here. I'm not the one that's made it through, 3-4 different cycles and become a millionaire doing that. I'm sharing my experiences. I'm going through sharing my journey and, some of the things that I've learned, some of the hard lessons that I've learned in crypto. And I tell you, I've learned quite a bit. I've learned a lot. I've gone through the storms. I've cut my teeth in crypto over the past few years, for the past 5+ years or so, really, I would say. What is the year? 2025? Yeah, 5+ years, 6+ years. Really, 2018, 2019, I started getting into crypto. And, it even took a few years to really even start to really learn quite a bit about crypto, right? So, What do I think about? What do I think about Pepe? Pepe. Well, it's I don't really think much about Pepe. I mean, hey, that would have been a great one to grab a hold of if you're one of the first. If you're able to get that one, right, when it did really well. But it's a meme coin, you know. It's a meme coin just like the rest of them, Doge, Sheep, Pepe, all of these. Teddy Bear, I think Teddy Bear would be pretty good right now, or not as far as a meme coin, But meme coins right now, you got to be really careful, I believe. Okay, and this is how I'm doing it. This is how I'm going to work it this cycle, or for the rest of the cycle. Alt season, is alt season dead? Do we still have a chance? That's a good question, right? Let me share a little bit. Let me share this first. Okay, so this is the thing. What did I get wrong? What did I get wrong this cycle? Let's be real with this first, okay? So what did I get wrong? Post questions if you want. Sure, absolutely. Post some questions here in the chat. I will get to them even as we go through this. And if I miss them by the end, I can go through that as well. But I just want to share a few thoughts. What did I learn this cycle? What did I go through that really allowed me to learn some lessons? Or what did I get wrong first? Well, I tell you what I really got wrong was really front running most risk on assets, altcoins right from the beginning. Okay. And this is what I mean. We learn a lot of lessons. We learn a lot of this stuff. Sometimes we learn it the hard way, right? And sure, with conviction, I had a lot of conviction, and I still have a lot of conviction with altcoins, with a lot of the altcoins. And it's not that they're not doing well, or yeah, they're bleeding out right now, right? But it's not that they're not going to do well. Okay. I believe that they will. I believe that we are still really going to get a strong alt season. Okay. But what I mean by the mistakes that I made with this is really front running it, even over the past, couple of years ago. And I'm talking like this cycle, but really from finishing off from the last cycle, right? When things dropped down 2022, 2023, I started to buy in even as the market was still dropping, right? I got the idea and I learned, hey, you know what? Hey, when the market drops really, really far, really hard, these are going to be some great buys. I really think some of these are going to do really well. And so I started to buy them as they're still going down without waiting and knowing when I should be buying. Heck, I could have waited. And that's the thing. I know maybe some of you are still frustrated with that. Like, I've gone through the frustrations, right? Pulse chain, I know you made the comment here, Hex, right? You've got Hex. You've got some of these meme coins. You got some of these really strong risk on assets that crash really bad. It's like, we're looking at them now going, man, you know what? If I could have waited until now, I could have got a way better deal than what I got. Like the sacrificing with the pulse chain ecosystem, right? Man, anybody that comes into this ecosystem, they're going to get a way better deal than anybody that put up their money back in 2021, almost 2 years before Pulse Chain even launched. And so that's why you got a lot of disgruntled people, that are really frustrated and disappointed with what's been happening, and saying a lot of things that, all right, calling it a big scam and whatever, right? Well, just because you front run it too early, it doesn't mean that things are a scam, right? So we look at that going, man, I could have got a better deal if I would have waited. But we don't know that. You never know that. You didn't know that you should have waited, that everything's going to drop down 95% and then another 90%, another 90, another, and just keep on going. It's like, what the heck, man? Are you ever going to stop? You're ever going to stop bleeding, right? We don't know that, right? But I learned quite a few things over the past couple of years with the market cycle. A lot of things that I didn't know before on how to time the market cycle. See, conviction matters. Conviction is really, really important, but also is timing, right? And I'm not talking about day trading timing in and out really quick, but timing the whole market cycle and what really drives the market cycle, right? So another mistake that I had, not only just front running a lot of altcoins, was not having enough Bitcoin, or really having any to really you consider having the Bitcoin. I had Bitcoin, and I even actually sold a lot of what I had before I should have, right? Because I wanted to front run the altcoins, because that's where a lot of the gains are going to be, is in the altcoins. Like Bitcoin, it's not going to go like the altcoins are going to, right? We all said that. We all knew that. That's what we all thought. But then, who knew that Bitcoin was going to ramp up, and, what do we got there? Like 5-6x, on Bitcoin, and the altcoins are still down bleeding like crazy. Like Bitcoin outperforming massively. But we didn't really know that. We didn't really know that that's exactly how it's going to play out, right? So, just like everybody else, I believe, probably, that hung in, or, built up a portfolio primarily with altcoins. You're watching your portfolio bleed. We got like this war happening, or rumors of war, and all of this is the end times type of stuff, right? Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Look at what happened this week. Everything just took a real bad hit because of these, with what's happening from the US and Iran and Israel and everything. And all we can do is look at that and move forward. And I'm going to share with you some of my top coins that, that I believe are a good bet, that I think that you could be doing, are DCAing into as well. Because Altseason is not dead. It's just delayed a little bit, right? In fact, I think everything still is working out very much on cue, with, on schedule type of thing. We're not getting a double bubble altcoin season, but we're getting maybe a single bubble. I don't know, right? I do believe we are getting an altcoin season. Is not canceled. Some people think that, the bull run's done, and the bull run hasn't even started, guys. I mean, the bull market has, but the bull run, the final euphoric parabolic blow off, that hasn't started. When you understand the market cycle, you understand what's really driving the whole market, you know that it hasn't, that we've still got, it's still going to happen. It has to happen because of what drives the market, and that is liquidity, right? Liquidity has to flow in. There are things that are happening in the world that are pushing the way things are, and that's why it must happen. It has to happen, right? You can't just like, well, okay, we're going to skip it. Another thing to consider is the bull run isn't done if there's still people that are able to buy, if they're still buyers, right? If people are bearish, and there are still bears in the market. If people are bearish, it means that there are still buyers. The market's still going to go up. We still have that time. Market never ends on the bull run, or the market. The bull market doesn't end, right, in depression. It doesn't end when people are bearish and they're thinking that it's over, when we didn't even have a blow off or anything, or any excitement. It ends when everybody is in, and everybody is excited, and everybody is going up, and nothing is going to go down anymore. Then it will end, because everybody's in. Who's left, right? Then it will end. Then it's time to go down. When you look at being technical, looking at the charts, looking at moving averages, that's why it's called moving averages. When you have the 200 and the 50, for example, right? You look at the moving average, that's the average price. If price is at the average price, it's at the average price. Or if it's below it, or if it's a little bit above the average price, it's still not blown away. When it goes way far away from the average price, then you know it's well overbought, and then it has to return. That's when it goes down. But we haven't had that liquidity surge in order for all retail to come in and everybody get euphoric. so that it can blow off really high, and then it needs to retrace back to the average price. And when it comes back to the average price, well, it usually goes well below, because people are, it's like it's momentum. It's like a rock just falling, and it keeps on falling until it's got to get bounced back. That's why it goes up and down. It's the volatility of the market. Once it's way above the average price, it'll drop way down, and then it'll bounce up to the average price. And then when people get really excited, then it goes way above average price. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. This thing about doing some live streams here is I can kind of go off on a tangent and just ramble. I forget that I'm where I'm at. Keep on topic here, on point, right? So I got a few points that I did put down on a document here, that so try and keep me on point without running out, especially because it's live. A little bit I don't know what the word is here. Still got to get myself used to doing this way. All right. So anyways, building up a portfolio with those mistakes there, just front running altcoins, not having enough Bitcoin, not having a proper portfolio set up. That was some of the mistakes that I made. And what I decided, or what I learned from that, is, hey, there's lessons learned, right? Is now how to go forward. Well, I mean, you can't sort of change the past. You can't change and start that over again until the next cycle. But every cycle you learn, right? You keep on learning more and more how you will do it differently and better the next cycle, right? The beginning of this, or the end of last cycle, or the beginning of this cycle, was paying attention to a lot of the altcoins, a lot of the good coins, and getting in early. But I got in too early, and I front run them without having enough Bitcoin and building a proper portfolio. So now, even moving forward and into the next cycle, I am not going to be doing a lot of that, right? I'm going to be holding more core. And what I mean by that is even Bitcoin and Ethereum, those type of coins, before I move into some of the real risk on assets. And I've discovered, and I've built up a system now, a strategy of building a portfolio where I have color coded it, and I have color coded my portfolio, and I've even got it built this way, right? But with, moving forward, even now with this color coding system, and that is with a green, yellow, and a red system, green, yellow, and red buckets. Right? If you watch my videos, you understand, or you may have heard me talk about some of this before, right? We need a stable for, you're talking about like Pulse Chain and that, right? Oh yeah, absolutely. Are you still invested in the OG, Teddy Bear, and P Die? Yeah, absolutely. I can. Let's see here. I am. Get back. Let's check this out here. Teddy Bear, P-Dye. I've got them both. I still do. And this is something else here as well. Okay, I'll mention this. My cord is under my chair. I'll mention this. When I buy, or if you were to buy some crypto, all right, if you buy certain coins, meme coins, utility altcoins, core coin, whatever it is, all right, play the whole cycle. Play it out. You can, however, if you want, de-risk. You can de-risk on certain tokens if you want. I did de-risk some on PDI. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, I wish I didn't de-risk that much. I did. I de-risked on PDI, for example. When it came down, and there's all that FUD and everything that was happening with that. I de-risked some, and then I bought right back, filled my bag right up, and then I de-risked again. A little bit, back and forth, mix on that, which is also something that tells you that, yeah, de-risk. If you're holding too much, not that I was like holding too much. I guess I was. I went pretty heavy. I went pretty hard with P-Dye because, yeah, I got really excited with it, is what I did. And it was becoming more than just like a lottery, or more than just a gamble with that one. But I still got a pretty good, all right bag of P-Dye. And same with Teddy Bear, you know. And exactly like you're saying, there people are going to get rewarded for holding, right? Yeah, you know what? Okay, I'll talk about these saying is out of the bowl as well. Kind of, you guys, I'm getting kind of all over the place here with that, but yeah, holding. So what I'm saying is like, don't get rid of your whole bag. So if you are something like, I know some people like they had P-Dye or they had Teddy Bear or whatever you had, right? And it's like, oh, they fall for some FUD and you get rid of it. It's gone. Don't do that. Okay. Don't get rid of everything. If you feel like, look, this one is I don't have as much conviction on this certain token anymore, or you're hearing FUD and you're going to let FUD get you out of a token, right? Don't get out of all of it, because you originally had some sort of conviction, and that's why you got to learn about researching research. And it's so important to do your own research and not just follow hyped up YouTubers and people that are talking on Twitter and all that about certain coins. You need to know what you're getting yourself into so that you can hold. Okay. And I'll tell you, I even did that. And I did it twice, or a few times, or a couple times. I want to mention that are really hit home to me with this. Last cycle, first of all, I'll mention this last cycle, I did it with Hex. I bought into Hex first. I was just learning about crypto, a lot of that back then. I came in from the different Ponzi type of stuff, and then buying into coins. And I didn't really understand. I didn't even know what Hex was. Someone told me buy this. A friend of mine said, hey, buy some of this. And I remember I bought Hex. I just threw $50 in it and didn't even look at it. And then when I did look at it, I was like, wow, this is wow. Okay. So I started buying more and more of it. Right. But I bought $50 of Hex back in, like, I think it was January or so of 2020. And I bought Hex at that time at 0.0001. Okay. 2020. So it was way cheap. $50 got me 140,000 Hex at that time. And then it went, I remember it was like $50, it's about over 5x at that. It went up to, I looked in my MetaMask at the time, it was like $250. And I was like, wow. And then I started buying more and more of it. And then I ended up I was, well over 300,000 Hex. And then it was slow. It did nothing for a while. Right. And then it went up to around a penny. And I remember saying, if it gets to a penny, like, wow, I don't know if it get to a penny. And it got to a penny, and I sold, and I made some money, right? But then I bought into FUD, and I got rid of it all. And then I bought into another project, which was garbage. And then I watched Hex skyrocket and go up to 55 cents. And I knew I made a big mistake, because I didn't understand things, right? So the lesson with that is, don't ditch your whole bag. Don't get rid of your whole bag. If you don't not certain about it anymore, just keep a moon bag of something, right? Just keep a little bit of it then. And then again, I did it this cycle. I did it with Solana. I bought into some FUD, not real well. When the SEC came out and they started hitting that Solana, right? See, I was buying Solana. I started buying Solana on the way down, and then I averaged my price for Solana probably less than $20 for Solana, right? And I didn't have a lot, right? But I mean, I had a handful of Solana, and I remember even DCing in Solana at around $10. And then when the SEC came and they started, the lawsuit came out, I ended up dumping my Solana. And then what happened after that? Well, look at it now. I mean, I could have made over 15x plus or 10 to 15x with Solana this cycle. And so I look at that, I was like, look at it, I dumped all that. And see, we even make these mistakes sometimes over and over with that, and don't do that. It's, teddy bear's down, PDI's down from what it was. Another thing is, take profit. PDI was up. I was up quite a bit on PDI, and I didn't take profit, and then I watched it all go down to where it is. I'm still holding a lot of what I have, right? So it's going to go back up and do very well. I believe it'll, but yeah, I mean, take profit a little bit's up there. But, I mean, PDI gets up to, what was it? What did we see? Like almost 3 cents, or we even did, I think we did see 3 cents, right? With PDI. It's like, why? Or why am I going to sell some when this is going to go up? We're going to a buck, right? I'm going to keep on holding. And then it comes back down because we had all that FUD. It's like, holy smokes, man. So at least take something, and buy back in if you want, right? So, I mean, not sell everything, just take little bits of profit, and don't get mad when people are taking profits because they're being smart that way, right? But tell you, yeah. So this is the plan. This is what I discovered. This is what I created as well. Was this, right from the beginning of the cycle, or right from the beginning of doing things, is build yourself up a portfolio and have your different risk buckets. I've created a strategy called the, I got the green bucket, the yellow bucket, and a red bucket, right? And so your green bucket is going to be your real high conviction. These aren't ones that are going to go moonshots. These aren't going to be cryptos that are going to really, make you rich type of thing, right? But they're more of your anchor cryptos. Now, some of them are going to do very well. I probably would even consider, PLS to really, I can put in there. It's like I go back from the yellow to the green with PLS, but really, I got a really strong conviction with PLS. Okay. So that also determines where you're going to place something, is how convicted are you, right? So I'm pretty convicted with PLS, so I could even consider that in a green bucket. But your green bucket, this is going to be like your, Bitcoin, Ethereum. And I don't know why people are like, well, what are you talking about Ethereum? Like, this stuff is freaking garbage, right? No, it's not. People that say it's garbage, they just don't really get it yet, right? I know we wish we're hoping that Ethereum would be doing a lot better by now, and it should. Like, what the heck, right? I believe it's being suppressed, but it is a solid crypto. And so what I'm talking about in this green bucket that way is these are anchors. See, Bitcoin, you're not going to get rich off Bitcoin, all right? You're not going to get rich off Bitcoin. You're not going to change your life by buying Bitcoin, but you're going to have an anchor in your portfolio. And when you have this anchor, and if you had Bitcoin and some of these solid ones like this in your green bucket right from the beginning, and not like even myself that front run too many risk on altcoins from the beginning, you'd be surviving a lot better right now. Okay. Right now, a lot of Bitcoin maxis are laughing, right? Bitcoin maxis are laughing at the altcoin community because a lot of us are just wrecked with altcoins. Okay. But as long as we stick with it, we hang in there, we're going to recover and we're going to do well. But getting in and just having Bitcoin, you're not going to make it. You're not going to get rich. You're not going to change your life with that. We're not in 2015 anymore. We're not in 2013. We're not even 2017 anymore. Okay. So you're not going to go and you're not going to make a 50 or 100x off Bitcoin, or probably even a 20x, right? I'm not going to be alive long enough type of thing, right? I'm not going to, for that. So it's an anchor for your portfolio. But then you move over into the yellow bucket. The yellow bucket, these are very solid core coins as well, right? Solid core coins in the yellow bucket. The only difference is these are the coins that have strong potential that will do a 10x, a 20x, a 50x. Who knows? They could really moonshot. They could really do very, very well. They have strong utility, great tokens, great projects, but they still have this strong potential to do very well, but they're not the anchor like a Bitcoin. Does that make sense, right? That's what my yellow bucket is all about. And then the red bucket, well, these are lottery tickets. These are lotteries, okay? So a lottery, this is no more than 10, 20% in a red bucket in this part of your portfolio. 0.5% for each token. 1% for each token, depending how many you're putting in here, but no more than 10, 20% in your portfolio for the red bucket. And because you got to have the attitude with the red bucket that these ones are either going to go to the moon or they're going to go to zero. And you got to have that attitude and be prepared for that right from the very beginning, right? And yes, something like Teddy Bear, something like Pepe, something like Doge or Shiba, these are meme coins. They got no purpose, no utility, no nothing, right? So you got to have the same attitude with something like that in a red bucket. Like those ones are red bucket tokens, complete lottery. They can go to the moon and do 100x. You can't base your whole portfolio on those ones. You can't base your whole portfolio even on yellow and red. Okay, you got to have some anchor in the green to really survive the whole cycle is what you need to do. Otherwise, just wait until the very end of the blow off and then put something in a red token and then hope that it's going to go. But that's not the way to play it. We want to be able to make money and create wealth throughout the whole crypto cycle. And the whole crypto cycle is not going to be done until that liquidity rush has come in. And that's what we got to understand and know about what's going to create or really blow this whole cycle is the liquidity, when the liquidity comes in and retail really comes in. I was on Facebook and there was, in this one of these groups, and someone did mention, right, oh, the euphoria, it already happened. The bull market's already done. It's done. That was last at the end of the year. There was a good excitement at the end of the year, right? But that was 2024. And there was no euphoria, right? But this comes with understanding and studying different macro perspectives. Just because there was strong use on Solana doesn't mean that was euphoria. That was his argument with this was there was a strong use case or a lot of users on Solana, and that chain really took off. And there's your euphoria. So that was not euphoria. Euphoria is not when the dollar index, the DXY, the Dixie is at all-time highs. That's not euphoria, right? It needs to crash. When Bitcoin dominance is still at its all-time highs, that's not euphoria. It needs to crash and then move it way back up is what it needs to do, right? When liquidity and global liquidity and M2 money supply, M1 money supply hasn't rushed in, it's not euphoria. We want to wait for those signals. We want to wait for those indicators is what we want. And retail's coming in. If you're going to go to your haircut and your barber's not talking about crypto and even advising you about crypto, it's not euphoria, right? It hasn't happened yet. The liquidity has to come in. When the rates are still high and they're still uncertain about what they're going to do, it's not euphoria. It'll happen, right? And I believe they've just been holding back. And it's like, why are you holding back so much? You need to do something about what's happening. But I believe they've got their reasons, on holding back on some things, on getting liquidity to really rush in. And hey, thanks. I just want to take a minute here also, and thank you guys for watching, hopping on this live here, bearing with me on this. See, now there's eight of you guys there. Not sure if you're or 7. Open it up over here, see how this looks. We need to, why am I keep moving around over there? So what do I see? I see, as far as like altcoin season, I do believe that it is going to happen very soon as well. It could be very well be playing out very similar even to like 2017. Okay, 20, it'd be 2017. I go by looking back on the charts and that, right? And that's not what determines everything by looking back at a chart and saying, oh, this is how it works, and let's match it up to that. It has to do again with liquidity. And that's what I really learned a lot about this cycle. What? When it comes to, are we getting a double bubble or is it a single bubble type of thing? There's those questions out there. Well, the first bubble doesn't always happen really in like April, May. I think that was the second bubble in the last cycle I was thinking about that earlier, right? That was probably the second bubble. I mean, it was the first one, but it was the second. It was the bonus bubble. So I guess is what I can call it, right? The bonus bubble, the first one. And then the second one came is when it should have been in the end of the year, because that's kind of how they always play out towards the end of the year, you get the fourth quarter of the year is when everything gets really exciting and just blows off. I believe that's probably what's really going to happen again this year. Okay. Holding everything off, holding the rates, holding liquidity, and then all of a sudden it's going to go. You see, the U.S. needs to pay and refinance debt, and so it needs to happen. And I was reading that it is between, I think it's between, I was going to say maybe it's July, but I was thinking it was like between August and October is really when there's that debt needs to be refinanced. There's like $9 trillion worth of debt that needs to be refinance or something like that. About that amount, I think it was 9 trillion that needs to be refinanced at that point in time, right? I mean, there's refinancing that needs to be happening with their debt on an ongoing process or an ongoing time, right? Consistently. But this year is a year where there is a large amount that needs to be refinanced, and that's why they need lower rates for that. Okay, you need lower rates. You can't do it at higher rates. Who wants to refinance at higher rates? So that's why that needs to happen. Rate cuts need to happen. Lower the rates, then more liquidity will be coming into the markets when the rates are lowered. Okay, so there is going to be that inflow of liquidity. There is going to be a huge alt season. Okay, when you see Bitcoin dominance really starting to drop. And that's another thing that we can be looking for, that I could be looking for and really paying attention. Now that I have a lot of this put together, is really to really understand that, to really know that, and to really make stronger moves. Next time, that is, right, is look for lower highs on the Bitcoin dominance to know that it's really happening. Not just like, oh, we're at the top, man, it's got to go down now. Oh, it's not. Okay, maybe, all right, maybe now it's going to go down, right? Instead of looking at it that way, look at the charts and you can know that it's going to happen by using that technical analysis and seeing that it's going down, if you want to do it that way, right? Before you really front run a lot of those more risk on assets, you can do it that way. Let's see here. But I believe that, when it comes to people really, really flowing in, the liquidity flowing in, and then, a lot of retail flowing in, and when we're really going to see it happen, it could even be, 6 to 12 weeks, something like that. Okay. And I'm mentioning this because I know there's the question. I'm going to get to that question here on dollar cost. Oh, that's dollar cost out. I was going to say that's dollar. Yeah, right. You want to know about DCing out of the bull. You know what? I was going to. This is what I was saying. This is, if you watched or remember any of my earlier videos, at the beginning of the year, it was, I think this is what I'm going to do this year, 2025. Now, everything was exciting back in December, right? So I was saying, you know what? This is how I'm going to play it. And I know everybody was expecting January to really be pumping and doing very, very well, right? 2025. So I'm going to do 1% per week, 2% per week, just a small percentage, and I'll be out by the end of the year for the most, yeah, really by 2026, other than your moon bags, right? So this is my plan, is I was going to do 1% or 2% per week. And then when we get to those euphoric, parabolic, exciting times like in 2021, when we had April, May, those times for the alt season blast off, we'll probably pull out a little bit more profits. Summer, well, we'll go to sleep for the summer, right? Sell in May, go away, come back maybe in October for that next pump. If it plays out that way, but nobody knows for sure. But if it did, then I sell a lot more in the fall, and that's how I was going to do it. So yes, that is how I was hoping to do it, but then portfolios crash, market didn't play out that way, so I haven't been doing that. I haven't been selling, and I hope you guys haven't as well, right? If you're down and your tokens are in the red, there's no point. Now, if we're not in euphoria, then you don't sell, right? So then my plan changed, and I leave room and be open for things to change that way. So it's not working that way. How am I going to, right now, before I mention DCAing out, is I believe that right now we still have some time to DCA in, okay? Right now we do. And that's what I'm saying, 6 to 12 weeks before it really, I think we got 6 to 12 weeks left to DCA. Now it all depends. Now that could change next week, right? So I reserve the right to be wrong on this. I reserve the right to change my mind and adapt to market conditions and how things are really playing out. However, I think that as long as your high conviction tokens are down, you can buy more of those. And I'm talking like the yellow bucket. If you follow my system with the yellow bucket system, right? The yellow bucket is, now these are tokens. These are not meme coins. So right now, when it comes to DCAing, people say, okay, you think I can DCA? So you're saying that now is the time I can still DCA, I can dollar cost average into the market? Yeah, absolutely. But it depends. What tokens are you going to DCA to? What are you going to buy? All right. What are you going to buy? Bitcoin? No, I won't. I wouldn't buy Bitcoin. Now, like I said, I wish I had a lot more Bitcoin. If I had a lot more Bitcoin from the beginning, right? 2022, 2023, I would still be holding my Bitcoin that way. If I had a lot of Bitcoin, I would still hold it. Absolutely. And maybe skim a little bit out into some other coins, potentially, right? But if I'm not holding it, I'm not buying it now. Now is not the time to buy Bitcoin. When do you buy Bitcoin? When Bitcoin drops, the next time that I'll be buying Bitcoin, like I said, yeah, Bitcoin, buy some Bitcoin, have some Bitcoin. When I will buy Bitcoin and I will rotate into Bitcoin is when Bitcoin drops 60% or more. When it starts dropping around 60%, I will start to slowly DCA profits into Bitcoin. So that's also part of answering your question, when to DCA out of the bull. I would be DCAing into Bitcoin, but I'm going to DCA into Bitcoin from a stable coin. Okay. So Bitcoin needs to drop down 60% before I buy any Bitcoin. I know right now people are really, they'll be excited. You'll hear influencers, you'll hear, or more or less, you're going to hear more like the Michael Saylors or the institutions or the big, huge players that way about Bitcoin, saying, yeah, Bitcoin's going to do that. Bitcoin's great. They just want liquidity. They want exit liquidity. That's all it is. But to buy Bitcoin right now, I don't think is the best idea. Wait until it drops 60%, and then you can buy Bitcoin. Right now, DCAing into meme coins, real high risk coins, no, I wouldn't be buying and DCAing into those coins either right now. They're way too risky to be buying. It's a red bucket, right? Red bucket, no. So that leaves a yellow bucket, right? I kind of went from this end to this end. Green, yeah, you can be DCAing into green, but not Bitcoin. You can buy some Ethereum, sure, because Ethereum still hasn't run yet, right? It still will do well, but you can buy some Ethereum. You can kind of hold that into Ethereum and then put that in, or rotate from there if you want, right, into other stuff. But I would be focusing on high conviction altcoins Now, I know some people will say, well, no, you got to wait, not deploying into any of these other altcoins until it really hits alt season. No, especially if you're like me and you're already there. If you're already deployed into altcoins and you're down quite a bit, you can stay in the altcoin. You're not going to like get rid of them. You've already got them. Your bags are down. And if they are high conviction altcoins, you can add to them, is what you can do, right? Add to those coins. High conviction altcoins, not meme coins. They're useless. They're pointless, but doesn't mean that they're not going to do well. I'm just saying right now, if you're going to DCA into any coins, any tokens, any projects, make sure that you personally have high conviction in that project and they have utility and they have good staying power, right? They're doing something. Examples now. What I'm referring to is also like warproofing, right? Warproofed cryptos, things that are really going to do well. AI, DPIN, real world asset, right? Look for something like that. Render, okay, render, AIOS, right? GRT. These are AI projects that AI is going to do huge. They're going to do it. AI that is going to do very, very well. Okay. And so if you're going to DCA into something, you want it to be something like that. You want it to have a really strong use case. So you DCA into something like that. It has a better use case, better utility if you're going to DCA into something like that. Don't DCA into something like Brett right now. I have Brett. I'll tell you, okay, I'll be transparent. I have some Brett, but I'm not going to buy more because it's down. And I look at that, I'm like, because my price is a little bit higher, right? It's like, oh, I'd like to buy some of that. It's down, right? Well, just because it's down, just because I have some, there are other tokens that I can focus on too. So right now, I would focus on myself. Now, none of this is financial advice too, by the way. So I'm going to get into some tokens. I'm sharing with you some of my picks that way, but it's not financial advice. I'm not telling you to go and buy these because I have them. I'm telling you, I do have some of these tokens. And so with that, I'm not saying or any advice. You need to do some research yourself on these, but myself, even if I'm doing like $50 in a week or $100 or whatever it is that I can do any week over the next few weeks, if they're down, that is, right? If they've already pumped up, then you're not, right? But if they're down and you believe in them, you have high conviction. That's why you need to do research, because you need to have the conviction yourself so that you could hold. But I would be buying AIOS. I would be buying GRT, right? And I have these. Render. I don't really have much for render, but it was one I would probably add now that it's really what is it, around $3 and stuff, $3.25, right? Or something like that. So it is a great pick to have, I think, and I don't even have it, right? So, but it is one I'll probably, throw a little bit in. AIOS, render. I know I had something else like that I was thinking of. Chainlink, Chainlink. I have got quite a bit of Chainlink. I do like Chainlink, but it hasn't taken off. It hasn't blew off like other ones. It's still waiting, but I still believe it is a strong pick still. So something like that, right? Now I'm not down actually, in Chainlink, right? But I still think it is a great place to be, great place to DCA into right now before it really pumps. So those are the type of things that I would focus on. I would look into and DCAing into right now. Okay. And how I would DCA out to get to this one, and this is how I plan on doing it, is I'm going to DCA out of crypto, out of the bull run, out of the bull market when it's euphoric, when there's euphoria. All right. When you have these top signals, when the Dixie is crashed down, when Bitcoin dominance is down and even starting on its move up, Okay, when everybody's excited on crypto, on Twitter and stuff. Now, I'm going to mention something here. I've got this book, by the way. Okay, it's I got a good book. Check this out. So I've got this. Like I've got a lot of this. I got a lot of visuals, right, and checklists, images that give you direction in this. Yeah, it's kind of it's my pitch, right? It's my pitch for this, from a book, but it's a playbook. It's not like a novel. It's not something you just read. Hey, it's a good read. It's got some of my experiences in here, yeah, but it's a playbook on how I'm doing this, right? And so when it comes to, and I want to bring it over here to what we're talking about for exiting, okay? How to enter, okay. So I've got in here like how to enter and how to exit and stuff like this. Look at this, okay, so I've got, it's called the traffic light system, right? Traffic light system. Rotation, oh, correct. Emotional, macro top. Here we go, like this. Okay, so I even have this. So you just want to say this is a playbook, right? So you get like this playbook here, and I mention stuff like this, and you get this checklist. So when the market is euphoric and there's your euphoria in the market, you want to look at these signals. Okay, you want to look at, for example, you got signals, and when you have this is how I'm DCing out. To answer the question, when I have 3 signals, or no, when I got 2 or 3 signals, then I'm going to start to exit out, but not everything. If I've got 2 or 3 signals flashing, that means I'll start to DCA out about maybe like 20%, 10 to 20%, but not all at once, until I have 10 to 20% of my portfolio. Okay. And I'm going to pick like, okay, well, which ones are really running? Which ones are really doing really well? Okay. In the green and the yellow, or especially in the reds. If they're really pumping off, well, I'm going to scale out some of that profits is what I'm going to do. Okay. So 10 to 20%, if there's 2 or 3 signals flashing, and when there's 4 signals flashing, right, then I'm going to raise that up to like 30%. So as more and more signals flashing, the market's more and more parabolic, more and more euphoric, I should have a lot more of my portfolio out and into stable coins is what I should do. But what kind of signals are you looking for, right? Well, I'm looking at stuff like when the altcoins are really pumping off, that's a signal, right? When there's extreme greed of like 90%, that's a signal, right? When the NUPL, called the NUPL, right? It's the net unrealized profit and loss for Bitcoin. When that's in the euphoric, way off screen. When it's in the top euphoric, it's greed. It's way up there. People are mostly in profit. That's a signal, right? That's a huge signal. Okay, when I've got peak influencers, a lot of energy on Twitter, on YouTube, a lot of that kind of stuff. Google Trends, that's another signal. When the Feds are tightening their rates, the rates are starting to rise. Okay, that is another signal, right? I think they still got to go down. Hopefully they will, right? I believe they will. Another couple cuts, possibly, right? And now, when you feel like it's going on, like I said, when you feel like it's going on forever, and I've got some more signals in here as well, but when you feel like it's going on forever, it's not stopping. It's not going down. We're just going to keep going up, right? In fact, I got to make sure I do something here. Hold on. If I was just doing a video, I'd just be like on pause type of thing, right? But in fact, I might have to jump off here in a minute. Okay. But that's what we're looking for. We're looking for stuff like that. And then I'll layer out that way. That's what I will be doing. And I will be layering out into stable coins, right? So you're going to be looking at things that are pumping off first, harder, and more, and scaling out of those ones. That's how I'm going to do it. So that's if that makes sense, I hope that makes sense to you, right? Like how to DCA out in the bull market is you got to wait for some of these signals. I've got this listed here. And then when, after you're doing that and then it really blows off and then it starts to crash, you're going to wait some time before you start to rotate back in, because then you're going to want to rotate back in and buy Bitcoin and that, right? But you're going to wait until, like I said earlier, you're going to wait until Bitcoin is down 60%, at least 60%. And then you're going to start to rotate into those ones. And then you're not going to do the mistake that I did even myself in like 2022, 2023 is like, these are great cryptos. I want these, and I'm loading up on these ones. And now that they're down, now that they're cheap, right? Chainlink, for example, right? Chainlink, Polkadot, Solana, AVAX, right? Okay, and start buying those. No, wait on those. Yeah, even Chainlink, right? Like Chainlink is a great token, but look at all the opportunity cost that was missed. Spent my time, acquiring that and other tokens that were down cheap that are still good, but I should have rotated pretty much almost all of it in Bitcoin, and then slowly out of the Bitcoin, or even continue from stable coins into other altcoins as the cycle progressed, right? But front running Altseason 3 years before it even happens is a little bit much, So I learned from that one. I learned hard, front running Altseason that many years before it even takes off. Okay, so yeah, that's what I believe. That's what I'm doing myself right now. Is I will throw a little bits in what I can in something that I have strong conviction for in my yellow buckets over the next few weeks. If it's good, right? I mean, meaning that if it's still down and we haven't pumped off for euphoria, just because I'm saying over the next weeks, 6 to 12 weeks, it doesn't mean that we have 12 weeks. We could have 2 weeks, right? We could have 24 weeks. Maybe things stay stagnant until January 2026. I don't know, right? I'm not saying that it's written stone that this market is done on a certain date and things happen on a certain date. We can stall out right till the rest of the year. But I do believe that it's not done. And we will get that blast. We will get a parabolic pump, euphoric pump and blow off before this cycle is done. Not before the year is done, but before the cycle is done. Now, I do believe that is going to happen in 2025 by the end of the year. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for chiming in here, those that are still here. Got a couple of you here. And thanks for bearing with me on my first solo live stream. If you found this helpful at all, just make sure you smash that like button, or make sure give me a comment. Let me know. You like this? You want me to hop on again? Probably just do this again tomorrow. What I'll do. Probably be a lot easier. If you want to check this out, I have this in a PDF as well as the book, this paperback book. So I got the paperback book, I got the PDF book. I also have an audio program. All right, here I am pitching you some of my products. But yeah, If you want to check out the playbook, like I said, it's a playbook. And see, like, we'll talk about re-entry, right? So there we go. Just open it up. See, I got re-entry rules. I got all these visuals, checklists, and visuals showing you like the flow charts on all of this. You know, sample DCA rebuild, right? Rebuilding with $50 a week, $100 a week, $250 a week. You know, different scenarios, how you can rebuild going into your cores and then into your alts and stuff. A lot of this stuff, like this is what I wish I had. I wish I had this before. How did I get this? How did I come up with this? By researching, by figuring it out. I was doing this for myself. I did this for me, right? Is what I did. I did this for me. I was doing the research. I'm coming up with the plan from the mistakes that I made, from the lessons that I learned, developing strategy, trying to put all this together, right? And as I was doing this, coming up with my plan of action, everything, and studying how the markets really work when it comes to liquidity, right? How this whole macro thing, because I've been studying the macro. Yeah, I've been listening to guys like Sami. I've been listening to Raoul Powell. I've been listening to the people that are doing macro and really looking at things and paying attention and what really moves the financial markets. And it's amazing. It's like, wow, once you really study this and once you really look into this and understand it, you cannot unsee, you cannot not see it and what's happening, right? It's amazing. It's mind-blowing. I'm like, wow, once people understand this or look at this, how do you not get rich? How do you not, play this cycle this way, right? So what I did was I'm studying and I'm looking at this. I'm coming up with a play, coming up with my strategies and developing this. And I'm like, this is really good. You know what? I can actually put this into a book and share this with other people. And so that's what I did. I'm creating this all for myself. And then I was like, at the same time, while I'm doing this, like, I'm just going to package this up, allow other people to purchase this, right? Not give it all away for free. Why? Because there's value, and I want people to know that there's value with this. And if there's value, then it's not given away, right? And I believe the Lord has called me to provide. He has created me to create value as well and bring value. So that's why that is. That's why I have it. And so that's why I say it's a playbook. It's a playbook is what it is. So check it out. Up to you. But I'm going to come back on and I'm going to do this again tomorrow or something as well. Start getting used to these live streams like this because it's been a while. It's actually my first time doing it this way by myself. So yeah, interested in some feedback on that. What do you think about that? See where am I at with things here. Anyways, what are some of your favorite tokens that you are holding here right now? If anybody wants to chime in with that. Any more questions that you have that you want me to get to before I jump off? So I'm going to jump off here right away. All right. Because, wow, I can't believe this. Okay, so I've been on an hour not knowing how I was going to do this. You still believe in Altseason? You still believe it's coming? All right. Cool. Okay, well, anyways. Oh, look, So if there's any last minute questions, I can get to that. Other than that, what I'm going to do is I am going to hop off here and we'll do this again. If you like the type of content, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified, and I will do another live. Yeah, this could be fun. The whole thing is just getting over the fear, right? Getting over the whatever you call it, getting out there and just doing the lives, because it's a little bit different than just doing videos. Can't edit it before you see it. All right. Okay. So, anyways, I'm jumping off. Thanks for hopping on. Thanks for tuning in. I don't know if any of you have been here the whole time or not, but I appreciate whatever time you did spend here with me. So, how do I stop that? There you go. Have a great day. Bye for now.